Yo YouTube, how y'all boys doing? Hope y'all boys doing good, man. Today just I got another crazy video for y'all boys. We're finna be reacting to poor rappers versus privileged rappers, bro. So basically like rappers that came from nothing versus rappers that came from everything, boy. We're just gonna be reacting to that. And with that all being said, boy, I don't wanna waste any more of your time, man. Let's get straight to the video, gents. And this is your first time, boy, or even not, and you're not subscribed yet, subscribe, bro. Like, you know what I'm saying? Let's get up to like 600, you feel me? So skip for young out there, gents. And yeah, let's get to the video.
They themselves as having started from the bottom before making it rich, but this is not always the case. There are a lot of big rappers who came from middle class or upper class families that already had wealth before they made it big as a rapper. In this video, I'll compare rappers who had little to no wealth growing up versus rappers who already had a stable or more than stable life before fame. One of Drake's most iconic lyrics is "Started from the bottom, now we're here." While Drake wasn't necessarily rich growing up, he definitely wasn't starting from the bottom either. Drake is originally from Weston, which is a lower income area in Toronto, but moved to Forest Hill after grade 6, which is one of the richest neighborhoods in all of Toronto.
Enough about the car, let's go inside. Hey, Bubby. Yeah, I made this table.
At 15, Drake was introduced to a high school friend's father who was an acting agent. He found Drake a role on the Canadian teen drama series Degrassi: The Next Generation, where Drake played one of the main characters, Jimmy Brooks. He earned around $50,000 a year playing this role.
$50,000 a year in the 2000s. But that's a lot of money, though. I'm not gonna lie. It's not like a lot, but like you're not poor if you're getting $50,000 a year in dollars and you're a teenager. Like, this nigga Drake been up, like, low-key, dog. If you really think about it, Drake been up, bro. Like, getting money ain't nothing new to this nigga. He been
which
up.
Is a fair sum of money for a young teen. Drake's mom was very sick during his acting career, so he had to use his own earnings to help take care of her and pay bills. Drake was basically just rich enough to be the poorest one in the richest neighborhood.
Perfectly. I was just rich enough to be the poorest nigga on the block.
Yeah.
His parents were just rich enough to get him out of the hood, but not rich enough to be like affluent.
Just the poorest guy on a better block.
The poorest guy in the estate. The poorest nigga in the suburbs. That's crazy.
Guy on a better
but at least
block.
he made it out. He made it out though. Hey boy, it's better than sleeping on the floor. Oh my fucking god, it's an ad, boy.
Run Windows,
ads.
Linux, and more on your Mac with unmatched performance
subscribe to them to watch ads, boys. Subscribe to them to watch ads, gents. Come on, like, which ones are these ones, gents? Come on, like, Young Sauvignon, that. You feel me?
Drake's rival, Kendrick Lamar, had a very different upbringing. Kendrick was born and raised in Compton, California, a city with one of the highest crime rates in America. His parents moved to Compton to escape their violent gang environment in Chicago. Kendrick still grew up around heavy gang violence and says he witnessed his first murder at the age of 5. He stated, "It was outside my apartment unit. A guy was out there serving his narcotics and somebody rolled up with a shotgun and blew his chest out. Admittedly, it done something to me right then and there. It let me know that this is not only something that I'm looking at, but it's something that maybe I have to get used to." He was introduced firsthand to police brutality after experiencing the first day of the 1992 Los Angeles riots. Kendrick and his family lived in Section 8 housing, a federal program that helps low-income families pay for housing in the private market. They were reliant on welfare and food stamps to get by, and even experienced homelessness. At age 8, Kendrick lived in a hotel for 6 months with his family after they were kicked out of their small apartment when it was sold. During 10th grade, Kendrick was enrolled in summer school, which he dreaded because it forced him to be embroiled in a gang war. Despite his efforts to avoid them, he soon became heavily involved with Compton's hedonistic gang culture, which led to numerous health scares and encounters with the police. He had been
Yo, boy, wait, my bad for pausing, but like, when I look at Kendrick, I can just tell this nigga was like from the gutter. You can just tell like this nigga was from the trenches. I don't know what it is. I don't know what it is about him, but you can just tell like, okay, this nigga had, this nigga from the trenches when he grew up, dog. Like, I'm trying to tell you, boy, like, what is it? Hey, you niggas don't carve, boy. Niggas don't carve. I'm trying to tell you, boy, like, you can just tell this nigga from the dirty. The dirty. He's from there, boy. I can tell, boy.
Beaten down in front of his mother, shot at, and even bloodied from being in the ER with one of his friends who got killed. Instead of letting all the violence around completely consume him, Kendrick detailed his experiences through music, starting as a teenager in high school. Jaden Smith might be the most extreme example of a privileged rapper.
He the richest rapper.
Because both of his parents are.
He the richest Wait, no, he's the rapper with the richest upbringing. I don't know if that even makes sense, boy. But like nigga moneyed up.
A-list celebrities, them being Will Smith and Jada Pinkett Smith. His father Will needs no introduction, as he's universally known as one of the world's most popular actors, along with being a rapper and a film producer. His mother Jada is also a household name due to her success as an actress, singer, and talk show host. The two parents combined have an estimated net worth somewhere in the range of $400 million, putting them around the top 0.01% of the global population. Jaden was born in Malibu, which is one of the richest neighborhoods in not just California, but the entire US. The first and only school Jaden attended was a private elementary school in Calabasas that was founded by his own parents. Will Smith paid $890,000 to lease the campus for 3 years, restructuring it from
that nigga attended his own parents' fuck that our boy English is chowing me now, gents. That nigga attended his own parents' school. Like, he attended a school that his parents built for him. Okay, not for him, but like his parents built that school. Oh, that's a different level type of rich. That's a different level type of richness, boy. That's a different level type of money, boy. This nigga's money is like this
high school
long,
to
bro.
a private
His
elementary
parents'
school
money is this
called
long.
New Village Academy. He also donated $1.2 million to the school just for Jaden to end up being homeschooled. Speaking of homes, the primary home Jaden grew up in is his parents' $63 million Calabasas estate that was made by buying a number of neighboring properties and turning them into one compound. The property is on a massive 150 acres, causing it to receive its own postal code. The home consists of 9 bedrooms, 13 bathrooms, an 8-car garage, a home theater, a recording studio, a pool, a lake, and basketball, tennis, and volleyball courts. Due to his parents' fame in the acting world, Jaden was given his first movie role at the age of 8, appearing in the 2006 film The Pursuit of Happiness as the son of the character his father was playing. He next appeared in the 2008 film The Day Earth Stood Still, then in 2010 had his iconic role in the Karate Kid movie with Jackie Chan, which both of his parents helped produce. He was only 11 years old when this movie was made, but ended up earning a whopping $3 million for his role. Jaden was also 11 when he first got into the music industry, with his first song being Never Say Never with Justin Bieber. Getting on a song with an artist as popular as...
Man, when I was 11, but I had never even touched I never even seen 1,000 rands. I've never even seen 1,000 rands in my eyes when I was 11. That boy was getting like 3 million at age 11. That's crazy.
Justin Bieber is extremely hard to achieve for most, let alone on your first song and at 11 years old. Jaden continued to star in multiple other films as a kid, then took a break from acting in 2014 to focus primarily on his music career. XXXTentacion was a rapper who had a very tough life growing up. He was born in Plantation, Florida, and spent most of his childhood in Lauderhill, one of the most crime-riddled neighborhoods in Broward County. His parents weren't together when raising him, and his mom was unable to fully support him financially. She seemed uninterested in raising him, causing X to use violence to get his mother's attention, beating kids up at school just to get her to talk to or yell at him. When he was 6 years old, he claimed to have bitten and tried to stab a man who put hands on his mother, causing him to eventually be put into a youth program. X went through a lot of traumatic things as a kid, such as finding his uncle's hanging body, being sexually abused, and witnessing someone being physically tortured and someone being R-worded. His mom also said that he was routinely beaten by his father as a child, and that his father also tried to hit her in front of him on several occasions. X's dad ended up in jail when X was 10.
Damn, that nigga from the 30. Oh my god, bro. I can't even, bro. How many S? Wait, in James? I'm James. What's going on with it? Where is it? Boy, I'm sick. What's going on, boy? Like, nigga, the fuck?
And stayed locked up for 9 years. Due to his mother struggling financially, he spent much of his childhood moving from home to home and credits his grandmother for raising him. X's violent tendencies never faded, as he was expelled from middle school for fighting and had many run-ins with the law as a juvenile. He dropped out of school in 10th grade, and by the time he was 17, he had already been charged with possession of a firearm, armed robbery, resisting arrest, and Xanax possession. Luckily, he eventually decided to channel all his pain and sorrow into music that was real and resonated with millions. Lil Yachty doesn't look like he'd be someone who came from the struggle, and that's because he isn't. He was born in Mapleton, Georgia, and raised in a middle-class suburban environment. He comes from a family with a history of artistic and creative privilege, with his father and grandfather both being well-known photojournalists. Yachty's dad was actually involved in the rap scene way before he was, as he was a tour photographer who worked with the likes of Outkast, Lil Jon, Dead Prez, and also George Lopez. Yachty's grandpa worked with some even more impressive names, such as Muhammad Ali and Nelson Mandela. These two's love for art trickled down to Yachty, who obviously ended up becoming an artist musically. Yachty actually went to Alabama State University, but quickly dropped out to pursue his musical career, which was clearly a great decision. Eminem is one who had it rough from literally the very beginning, as his 15-year-old.
Now we all know that movie. Wait, was that movie? I feel like, if you know what, that movie, I think it was Mile 2022, some shit like that. Like this other movie Eminem was in where he was like poor as fuck. I think that was I think that movie was about him, if I'm not wrong, bro. If that movie was about him, bro, that nigga came from the dirty 30. Like, poor, like, broke ass nigga. But Eminem is a nigga, boy. And no offense. Like, I feel like, boy, we shouldn't even be. I shouldn't even have to say this, boy. Like, he's allowed to say the N-word, boy. Low key, like, if Eminem wants to say, was to call me a nigga, boy, I'll dab him up. I'm like, yo, what's up, man? Same time, boy. Like, no, but I wouldn't even complain, boy, if Eminem called me a nigga, boy. With the A though, the nigga with the A, not that ER shit. With the A, boy. If it was to be like, what's up, my nigga? Dab that nigga up, bro. What's up, my boy? You feel me? Like, Eminem deserves it, bro.
Mother almost died during her 73-hour labor with him. His father abandoned the family when Eminem was a year and a half old, meaning he would be raised only by his mom. His mom struggled to make ends meet as
he grew up poor. He had no father. His mama was poor. That nigga's a nigga, bro. And he raps, bro. Eminem is black in a white man's body, bro. Like, literally, he's black in a white man's body.
Single parent, causing her son Eminem to grow up in poverty. By the age of 12, Eminem and his mom had been mostly living with family members, as they had bounced around numerous trailer homes and public housing projects in different states, rarely staying in one place for more than a year or two due to them always getting evicted. They started in St. Joseph, Missouri, before living in Savannah, Kansas City, Warren, Roseville, and eventually settling down in Detroit, one of the most dangerous cities in the entire United States. Eminem and his mom were one of only 3 white households on their block, causing Eminem to be beaten several times because of his race. Eminem having to switch schools almost every 2 or 3 months made him a target for bullying, since he was always the new kid. He was often beat up in the hallways and bathrooms and shoved into lockers, even falling into a coma at one point from a bully who gave him a traumatic brain injury and cerebral hemorrhage. His abuse unfortunately continued after school as well, as his mother was a mentally ill addict and alcoholic who would beat and abuse him herself. She had another kid when Eminem was 13, and Eminem claims that he was the one who raised his younger half-brother. He worked at several jobs to help his mother pay the bills, but he said she would often throw him out of the house anyway, even after taking most of his paycheck. After spending 3 years in 9th grade due to poor grades and frequent absences, 17-year-old Eminem dropped out of Lincoln High School. He had begun rapping 3 years prior, but it was at this point that he formed his first rap group and really took rapping seriously. Eminem has had a long history of beef with the father of the next artist, Coi Leray. Coi was born in Boston, Massachusetts, and raised in Hackensack, New Jersey. She was born into wealth, as her father Benzino was a media mogul who found extreme success as an urban media proprietor, television personality, rapper, and record producer. He was a co-owner of the extremely popular magazine The Source. Coi experienced a lavish childhood up until the point of her father's forced exit from The Source magazine. Coi was 9 years old at the time and began living with her mom, who was at a completely different income level to Coi's father Benzino. Coi would still fly to her father every Christmas, summer, spring, and birthday, but when she was with her mom, things weren't all nice and sweet. Her family's lifestyle completely changed as they had to adjust to a new normal, even relying on food stamps at one point. Coi started making music at age 14, being inspired by her father, but she stopped not long after. By age 16, she'd already worked a few basic jobs and decided to drop out of high school after making good money in sales, earning up to $1,300 every Friday. She still had a hunger for more though, and wanted to get back to the lifestyle she had before her parents were divorced. This is what caused her to work on music again and take it seriously, which ended up working out, as she's now estimated to be worth over double that of her father.
I Oh man, I know. Hey man, that's my boy. Oh hell no, bro. How many ads does this video have, boy? Boy, how many, boy? Boy, come on, boy.
Creators, take these 3 apps I've given to run my business made with Base 44. They're ready for you as free to use templates in the...
Boy, subscribe so we don't have to watch ads, my niggas, please. But as I was saying, boy, Young Thug, King Slime, you feel me, Spider. You know what I'm saying? He came from the gutter, he came from the dirty, this nigga, boy. Broke ass nigga. Mama had like 11 kids.
To be a thug based on the environment he grew up in. He was born in Atlanta, Georgia as the 10th of 11 children, being from Sylvan Hills but growing up in the Jonesboro South Projects, a now demolished part of
his mama had a whole basketball team, dog. Like even more than a basketball team, in fact. His mom had the coach and the freaking mom had the whole team and the coach. That's crazy.
That provides affordable housing for low-income families in Atlanta. Thug was quoted saying, "Where I'm from is real poverty. My mama had 11 kids, and when you have that many kids, you're going to experience hard times. We all got it though. My friends and I were robbers. We were badass kids that took everything we wanted." One of Thug's brothers was put in jail for murder, and another was shot dead when Thug was in elementary school. Thug said he was in the streets at 8 or 9 years old, going to school just so his parents would keep buying him clothes. But when he got out, he did whatever he wanted, like fighting and things of that nature. By 6th grade, Thug's classroom antics turned physical as he got out of middle school for breaking his teacher's arm, spending the next 4 years in a harsh juvenile detention program. His antics would continue as in 8th grade he got expelled from his middle school for punching a teacher in the face. He said he had his first child at 14 or 15 and would rob and steal to survive while he was poor. Now that he has made it big time, he made it a point to give back to those in situations similar to the one he was in, stating, "I remember not having anything, so I want to always stay involved. Whenever I go back to my side of town, Cleveland Avenue, I know I have to bring money because there will be friends or cousins or people I knew from 6th grade who are going to ask me for money. My fiance always says I look like Santa Claus because I'm just giving everyone something." Another rapper from Atlanta that came from a much better position than Young Thug is Destroy Lonely. Lonely was quoted saying, "When I was younger, my life wasn't too hard, it wasn't too bad." Lone's father was a successful rapper signed to Ludacris's Disturbing the Peace label. Lone didn't actually live with his dad, but he still lived in a big house in what looks like a nice suburban neighborhood.
My shots are not up to date. Cavities need to be filled.
Man, that boy was in the suburbs.
He's supposed to be getting braces in July. And all that good jizz.
In 6th grade, he moved to the south side of Atlanta, Georgia to live with his grandmother who, quote, lived in the hills. Here, he would be homeschooled by his grandma, who used to be a teacher. When he was 12, he started on his first passion, which was content creation.
Minecraft, Call of Duty, Happy Wheels, Daisy, a whole bunch of different stuff. It's just gonna be a gaming channel in general. I'm on the YouTube come up, just wait till I get as famous as Tobuscus.
He then started live streaming gaming a couple years later.
I can't do this by myself. What a bad teammate you are. This is why I don't mess with y'all. I play by myself. I'm dead now.
He returned back to public schooling in 9th grade, and it was actually here where he would begin his music journey, making his first songs at 14 in a recording studio at his school. A$AP Rocky had a very rocky upbringing. He was born in the Harlem neighborhood of Manhattan, New York, growing up on 116th and Morningside, a neighborhood described as being full of crack zombies back in the 1980s. He moved to Harrisburg, Pennsylvania at age 8 and lived there for 3 years before moving back and forth between New York and Pennsylvania. When Rocky was 12, his father was arrested and sent to prison for selling narcotics. A year later, tragedy struck again when Rocky's older brother was killed in Harlem. At this point, Rocky and his mom and sister were bouncing around different homeless shelters during his teenage years. He recalls his school friends asked him to come over after class, but he always had an excuse because he was too ashamed to let anyone know that he was living in a shelter. At age 13, Rocky started dealing drugs like his father in order to pay the bills.
Damn, he started by selling. His dad was dealing drugs, his brother got killed, he grew up poor. I'm not gonna lie, but I feel like that's all the motivation you need to become a rapper, dog. I'm not gonna lie. Like, let's be honest, boy. Like, low key, boy. If your life is like that, you have like 2 options, bro. If you're not smart, college is not an option. If you're not like if you're not smart, college is not an option, bro. You feel me? It's either you become a drug dealer, a rapper, or a streamer. since now it's 2025. Like, you know, it's just that only those 3 things, or gambling, only those 4 things, bro. You feel me? If your life is like that already, cause it's gonna pay for your college and shit. If you like not super smart and you can't get like good marks to get like a student loan or what, so like qualify for those student paying whatever. You feel me? You only have 4 options, bro. If you're an average nigga, and that's your life. I'm not gonna lie, boy.
Weed, but by age 14 or 15 was selling crack in the Bronx. Luckily, Rocky staying in the Bronx gave him the connections to eventually join ASAP, a collective whose acronym spelled out fully explains Rocky's mindset: always strive and prosper.
What?
Chance the Rapper had a high chance of success from the very beginning, with both of his parents being successful working in politics. His mother worked for the Illinois Attorney General, and his father was a political aide to Chicago Mayor Harold Washington and then Senator Barack Obama. Chance had a comfortable life.
Yeah, I can tell Chance grew up rich, but I don't know, like when I look at him, I can tell like he was one of those weird when he was a kid, he's probably one of those kids that like comic books and shit. You feel me? And like he had money and shit for that shit. And he liked video games, and he was always getting the latest games, latest Jordans, all of that bullshit. You feel me? All of that things, James.
Growing up in the middle-class neighborhood of West Chatham on Chicago's South Side. He first got to meet Obama when he was 9. By the time he was 13 or 14, told him about his aspirations to be a rapper, which Obama responded to with, "Word." For high school, Chance attended the selective enrollment Jones College Prep, where he was a member of the Jewish Student Union. His family planned on moving to Washington, D.C. because his father was working on Obama's campaign, but those plans eventually fell through. His dad ended up working in the first term of President Obama's administration in the Department of Labor. Chance's parents hoped he would follow them into politics, and his college prep teachers ridiculed his aspirations to become a rapper, but he wasn't gonna let anyone stop him from doing the job he knew he wanted to do since he was 7. When Youngboy was
you can look at, but my bad for pausing, Chance. Hide it for pausing too much. My bad for pausing. Let me just say this one thing, and I'm gonna stop pausing like that for real. Wait, you can just look at Youngboy and you can tell this nigga was poor. But you don't even have to think twice when you look at Youngboy, dog. You can just tell this nigga was broke as fuck back in the day, boy. You don't even have to look twice, boy. You don't even have to look twice, boy. Maybe now you can be like, okay, maybe this nigga grew up rich, but boy, back then. 2018 Youngboy, you can tell that nigga was fresh out the hood, fresh out the gutter, boy, fresh out the trenches. You didn't even have to. He
did not have an easy childhood whatsoever. He was born in Baton Rouge, Louisiana, which is always ranked as one of the least safe cities in the entire country. When he was a toddler, he broke his neck while wrestling, with the injury requiring a head brace that left the signature permanent scars on his forehead. When Youngboy was 8, his dad was sentenced to 55 years in prison for a robbery gone wrong. It was at this point that he moved in with his grandmother because his mother had also moved out of the neighborhood. Unfortunately, things got even worse 2 years later as his grandma passed away when he was 10. Following her death, Youngboy was sent to a group home where he would get beaten up by other boys for no reason. He eventually moved in with his friend and fellow Baton Rouge rapper OG33. OG33's mom recalls the 2 boys getting into all sorts of trouble in pursuit of their rap dreams, committing criminal acts such as stealing car batteries out of 18-wheelers and selling them in hopes of paying for studio time. When Youngboy was 14, he was arrested for robbery and placed in a detention center. It was this arrest that made Youngboy realize that his main focus should be on music instead of being involved in criminal mischief with his friends. Shortly after he was released from the detention center, Youngboy dropped out of the 9th grade to focus on music full-time. Lil Mabu is a drill rapper who raps about guns, drugs, and violence, but his lavish life growing up was a far cry from the violence and crime he raps about. He was born and raised in Manhattan, New York, which is one of the most expensive places to live in the entire US. He grew up in a 3,327 square foot condo, 5 bedrooms and 5 bathrooms on the Upper East Side. His family also owned a 6,182 square foot mansion and watermill, which they could escape to on weekends or during school breaks. The 2 properties combined are worth close to $12 million. The Buckley School, which is where Mabu went to middle school, costs $55,500 per year in tuition, which is nearly the average American salary. The prep high school.
Bro, you can just tell that this nigga, he rapping for fun, dog. He's just doing it because he wants to, bro. But I don't know, like, when a rapper like him, I feel like, bro, there's a lot of rappers that actually, like, grew up even richer than him, but rap about guns and drugs and being from the hood and shit. And, like, I feel like people only, like, make fun of him when he does that because he's white. I'm not even gonna lie, bro. I feel like it's mostly like a race thing, bro. Like he falls into the stereotype so much. Like he falls into like the rich white boy stereotype that wants to be hood. That's why people laugh at him, dog. So, but at the end of the day, he's still making money though. You can't even hate, and he's doing what he loves too. So you know what I'm saying? You can't even hate on him, bro. Hating on him is just, I don't know, dog. You need to think again while you hate him. You feel me? Like, it's one of those things you need to actually think, like, why do I hate this nigga? You feel me? Like, why do I genuinely hate this nigga? You feel me? If you hate him, though. But that
nigga too, called the Collegiate School, cost $60,000 a year, and it schooled generations of the Vanderbilt and Kennedy families.
My name is Matthew DeLuca. I go to the Collegiate School. I'm in 9th grade, and my favorite thing about Kids Walk for MSK Kids is getting together with friends and family to support such a wonderful cause.
Before focusing on music, Mabu was a model student, winning the 69th annual Jack Woodruff Memorial Public Speaking Competition and the Jamie Porter Cup for excellence in writing, paving the way to a career in the public sphere. For some reason though, he decided to pivot to rapping in the hood about a lifestyle he never actually lived. Another Lil artist who, unlike Mabu, had it rough as a kid is Lil Wayne. Wayne was born in New Orleans, Louisiana, and grew up in the impoverished Holly Grove neighborhood.
Weezy.
Holly Grove is a high-crime, low-income area. Resources are scarce and opportunities are limited. Lil Wayne's parents divorced when he was 2, and his father permanently abandoned the family. The separation brought not only emotional, but financial challenges as well. His mother worked long hours to support the family, which often left Wayne to fend for himself. This meant he had to grow up quickly and take on responsibilities at a very young age. Wayne said he started struggling with mental health when he was 10 amidst the overwhelming pressures and challenges.
And then he had a kid at like 13 or 14, bro. I'm telling you, like, Wayne has, I feel like Wayne, if there was an award for the rapper that grew up the hardest, it has to be Lil Wayne, but you have to, like, this nigga, like, bro, this nigga was for real broke. And like, he became the biggest rapper at a certain point of time. There was a time Wayne was the biggest rapper, by the way. But that's a story for another day. That nigga was like bigger than, man, that nigga was like the Drake of hip hop, bro, at his time. And it's crazy because he put Drake on. If it wasn't for him, Drake
By age 12, Wayne had already signed to Birdman's Cash Money Records, but his mother told him that he would have to end his rap-related associations because she was concerned about his safety and well-being. Hearing his mom tell him he couldn't rap anymore and follow his dreams led to him shooting himself in the chest in an attempted suicide. After shooting himself, Wayne was able to call the police, but when they arrived, he recalls them sweeping through the house and proclaiming that they found a gun and drugs. He said an off-duty officer named Robert Hubler was the only person who acknowledged him and then picked him up off the floor and took him to the hospital in a police car instead of waiting for an ambulance to arrive. Lil Wayne credits Hubler for saving his life. Wayne's mom eventually allowed him to continue pursuing his passion for music, recognizing his talent and dedication. Wayne was always an honor student in school, but chose to drop out at age 14 to fully pursue his music career. A later lyric of his that perfectly sums up his road from poverty to wealth is this.
I bought me a double R, cause I went from rags to riches.
That's a bottle. Boy, wait, hold on. I bought me a double R cause I went from rags to riches. Nigga, who says that? Yeah, bro, I don't lie, that was crazy watching that. Shit, niggas really grew up broke as fuck. Like, some niggas, yo, boy, this list was crazy. Some niggas grew up too rich and some niggas grew up too broke, you feel me? But if you made it this far, gents, I'ma take it as you enjoyed the video, boys. Please, gents, subscribe. Please, I'm begging you, subscribe. That's gonna really make my day if you subscribe. And yeah, gents, let's get to like, bro, let's just get up, bro. Let's get up to these levels, you feel me? Let's get to like 600 subs, gents. Let's run it up, bro. I love y'all, boys. Please subscribe though, and see you until the next one.